The Nikon ZF is a Z6 II on steroids.
Came for the titles and press of the watch. We play at the levels of Letterman jocks. Pins on the jacket, the man's abundant. The point of the road was banned and rugged. Hushing, I'm applying no pants in London. The products are not being scared of some judgment. Gotta stay in the cut you off if you ain't making the cut. Couldn't tell you who the hell is behind us. You start to forget when you stay in the front of it's up. And it's up for grabs, no remorse of who I'm taking it from. Numbers I give on my scoreboard is the only form of us staying in touch, that's staying enough. It's time to receive for all of the favors I've done. Too late for y'all to switch teams, everybody getting big leagues.
Why do I say that? Because the sensor inside this camera is from the Nikon Z6. We know it's the Z6, Z6 II. Nikon went to dual processor from the Z6 to the Z6 II, and even though they squeezed out some performance out of it, it still wasn't enough to make this camera what we wanted it to be. Now granted, I've had the camera for about a year before I sold it, and during that time, I did a lot more photos than I did videos. And whatever videos I did was basically sitting at home on a tripod taking videos. When I started traveling, hand-holding it, stability and so on, wasn't the greatest. For photos, I didn't have much trouble with photos. I come from the old school. I point the camera, use a single point, and do what I want to do. Sony kind of pioneered a pretty good thing. They got a lot of the younger folks excited about utilizing that camera. Why? Because all you got to do is just point it and it does a lot of stuff. And I'm talking videos more so than photo. On the photo side, it does well, but for my use of the A7R5 and the FX30, depending on what you're shooting, you still have to select different modes to get the right settings in order to make sure you get things in focus. You see my first video when I did my review on the Z8 when I compared it to the A7R5 and how it looked. Well, certainly they seem about similar when it came to autofocus and video. So for me, that was fine. Now, going on to the video side, the ZF has some new features. Yes, it has 8 stops of IBIS, but that's on the photo side. But it showed about 5 stops on the video side, which makes it very good. Now, the video side is where the Z6 II had issues for me. If the Z6 II has the kind of IBIS that the ZF has, I would have definitely kept it longer. But that's where the falling down point was. Now, while Nikon took some time to kind of get things around, and we have to throw in there that there was also a pandemic that set everything behind, the Z9 had the Expeed 7, which is a fantastic processor. Do we want to see Expeed 9 inside a Z6 II? Certainly would have loved to do that, but that would mean a new body for Nikon. And we've ended up with the ZF. All the things that we would have loved on the video side for the Z6 II is what we got in the ZF. That's why, in my mind, it is a Z6 II on steroids. Back in 2019, when I picked up a Z6, I was really enamored with the camera. The images on the rear screen match exactly what I saw when I was looking through the viewfinder, which to me was an awesome thing. My first time using electronic viewfinder, it's very good. Later on in the evening, I took some videos with it. First time trying out video, and the camera worked very well. The video was really great on this camera. The one thing I noticed, in bright daylight, it did very well. At nighttime, it wasn't too bad. I shot a mini concert. You can see some of my old videos when I did that, when I talked about my Z6 experience. And there were some times when it lost focus. But overall, I was impressed for being a first use and first Nikon camera that I had with video on it. I had a D500, but it was not as good as this camera. The lens was quiet. There was no picking up of the noise from the lens when it's focusing. It didn't have to hunt. It was just really smooth, and I loved it. Fast forward to the Z6 II. Things got improved. I liked it so much that I was doing videos with it, and I bought it for my travel purposes. However, walking around town, trying to do some vlogging with it, that's when I had some issues. Being indoors with my 24-70, I still had issues, which was kind of surprising, and that's what led me to Sony. Now, I'm not saying that the Z6C was a bad camera. I thought it was a great camera when I got it. I thought it was better than my DSLR. And I still hang on to that and say, for most part, for what I'm doing in video, works well. For the photos, the images come out of it look really nice. The ZF has is now taking things to the next level. As we're waiting for the Z6 III, the ZF is showing us what the Z6 II could have been capable of had the Expeed 7 been available to it. Now, there's something that people don't realize. When the Z6 was released, it came with the capability to record externally RAW. This is something that Nikon gave us that not many of us who do video really knew much about at the time. Those of us coming from DSLRs and going onto the video side, RAW was not a thing we really thought about. Now that I have a bit more experience on utilizing RAW, like do. Hey, plane flying over. So now that I'm more familiar with video and understand N-Log, HLG, and RAW, this is something that we got on a Nikon camera that wasn't available on most other cameras. We didn't know that Nikon basically stepped up their game and went to the next level in giving us the Z6. The Z6 II took it another step further. Now, of course, you have to pay for the upgrade because it was not in the camera, but the fact that the capability was built in, that's great. On the ZF, however, you don't have that capability. From what I've been seeing, there's no information about being able to record external RAW or internal RAW. And for the kind of camera that it is, it's basically a retro style camera. Most people are going to use it to take photographs, but the capability is there to do video up to 4K 60 with a crop, just like the Z6 II did. So that's a great thing. If you're somebody who thought about what you wanted your Z6 II to be, now you have a camera that is giving you what the Z6 II could have been had we got all these things with Expeed 7. The 8 stops of IBIS, it's an awesome thing. Better low light performance. I love the low light performance when I had the Z6 and the Z6 II. Great thing. So in the Z6 II, Nikon gave us so much more than we realized. If you're a person who loves to do video, this camera is a great bargain. Now the ZF basically kicks it to the curb. The ZF has a lot more features inside of it. It doesn't mean that the Z6 isn't a great camera to work with. You can still work with it. With all this said, now what can we expect from the Z6 III? The Z6 III, in my mind, is going to encapsulate all the things that we've gotten in the ZF, plus a bit more. I think the autofocus is going to be even more improved. Hopefully, they will give us some features. The auto-framing features is one of the things that I like from the Sony side, that if you're a solo shooter and you want to move around, you can basically set it up that way and the camera can track you around. In saying that, flip out screen, or vlogging screen as people like to call it. Personally, I wish the screen that it comes with would be the one from the A7R5 or something along those lines, that you can use it as a photographer, you can tilt it out, and you can flip it out when you want to do video. I think the camera is also going to be slightly heavier. As we noticed, the ZF is heavier than the Z6 II. Why? You need better cooling when you're going to do higher codec internally to the camera. In speaking about higher codecs, I'm hoping that we would see at least 6K recording on the Z6 III with internal RAW at a certain level. Up to 4K 60, I would like to say internally, if not 6K. I don't think that camera is going to go to 8K. There's really no need for it. And if Nikon wants to maintain that 2-hour and 5-minute recording inside a sealed body with no fan, they're going to have to make this camera a little bit thicker. In getting the Sony A7R5, there are a few things that I realized I Sony did from the A7R4 to the 5. They had to make it thicker and put an additional processor inside of it to allow it to perform better. That increased the video up to 8K. The Z6 III should have a whole brand new sensor. I don't think Nikon is going to utilize the Z6 II sensor inside of it. If they did, it would really be a big surprise to me, but I think if they want to push it all the way up to 6K, they want to go with another sensor that's going to be have a faster readout. Maybe not a stack sensor, but a new BSI sensor that has a fast readout that can basically match with the Expeed 7 and extract the best they can. But I think whatever Nikon is putting out right now, they're not going to put out something that's kind of meh. They're saying they want to focus more on the pro line. So the top end stuff is what they're trying to put out first and foremost. Not just for money purposes, but for competition and to keep people happy. If you're a photographer, you realize a lot of stuff that you see from Nikon right now, the marketing is around video. There are a lot of video shooters out there that love the features of Nikon camera. Nikon has been talking to cinematographers to find out what they want in their cameras, and to content creators, and they're going along that path. As far as IBIS, I'm expecting something really great, maybe like the advanced stuff that Sony has. But I can tell you, while the Z8, it has pretty good stability, we really don't know what the ZF is right now. We've been hearing about it, but not from people who actually own the camera. So we can't say for sure what it's going to be, but it looks like it should be good. But the fact that they're still showing the camera with it being filming on a gimbal tells me it's not quite there yet. So we have to wait and see what's going to be. I'm curious to hear what everybody thinks. Put your comments below. If you're looking to buy gear, I got Amazon links below. Remember to check those out. I want to hear what you guys think about the Z6 II. If you own one, are you still going to keep it? Are you going to get the ZF, or are you going to wait for the Z6 III? Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you like my new background. I'll be here for another few days, and we shoot more videos from here. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Today, don't move your hand around too much. Today, do. Hey, please, fly over. Don't stop. $1,000 price.
Hold on. It's a little white, exactly the same. And how did it change?